So, due to the early games tomorrow, we're going to do the preview tonight for all the games tomorrow. And there's a lot of hockey to be played, and there's some pretty decent uh, divisional rivals going on, and there's some other interesting things going on with these games as well. So let's just start things off with Boston and Toronto, because Toronto's at home, Boston's on the road. Honestly, I really think Toronto's going to win this game. I'd be very surprised if they don't. Um, Boston on the road is nowhere near as impressive as they're at home. They have the same complex as Dallas, it seems, and I think Toronto's probably the better team right now. That being said, Boston's 25-15-4, Toronto's 28-13-2. Boston, having seen that Buffalo lost tonight, they can make up extra ground, and of course, Buffalo plays tomorrow night as well, and Buffalo has their hands full on that one. So, should be an interesting game to say the least. Over their last 10, both teams are 7-3. Boston lost their last game. Toronto won their last game on the road. Boston is 9-9-4 at home. Toronto's 13-8-1 versus the East. Boston is 15-11-1 versus the East. Toronto is 16-8-2. So again, I like this for Toronto. I do, and it's a matchup that I think will eventually go into Toronto's favor big time. That being said, there's some debate about whether or not Freddie Anderson will be cleared for tomorrow night's game, or we'll see Hutchinson again. So we'll see what happens there. Scoring leaders for Boston: Pastrnak, 25 goals, 27 assists. Marchand, 16 goals, 31 assists. Bergeron, 14 goals, 24 assists. Krejci, 8 goals, 26 assists. Krug, 4 goals, 25 assists. DeBrusk, 14 goals, 3 assists. Heinen, 5 goals, 7 assists. Backus, 4 goals, 8 assists. Grzelcyk, 1 goal, 11 assists. And despite the fact he hardly ever plays, Charlie McAvoy is still top 10 with 1 goal, 10 assists. And I'd like to see him play regularly and, I don't know, have good health for the rest of the season. I know I'm asking for a lot. On the Toronto side, Marner leads them in scoring with 16 goals, 41 assists. Tavares, 29 goals, 21 assists. Riley, 13 goals, 33 assists. Matthews, 20 goals, 19 assists. Kadri, 9 goals, 16 assists. Kapanen, 14 goals, 11 assists. Gardner, 2 goals, 22 assists. Marlowe, 10 goals, 10 assists. Johnson, 9 goals, 10 assists. And Zach Hyman with 7 goals, 9 assists rounds out the top 10 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Goaltending, no confirmation yet. I'm guessing Tuukka because Yarrow started the last game. Tuukka Rask is 12-8-2 with a 2.43 goals against, 920 save percentage, and a shutout. On the Halak side of things, he's 13-7-2, 2.39 goals against, 924 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. Did I remember to put the shutouts down for everybody? Yes, every team except one. On the Toronto side of things, again, I'm kind of expecting Hutchinson here. He's 3-3-2, 3.29 goals against, 886 save percentage. So if they go with Hutchinson, Hutchinson's 3-3-2, 3.29 goals against, 886 save percentage with a single shutout. Anderson, 29-1, 2.5 goals against, 923 save percentage, and a shutout. I haven't been putting the Finnish named kid up because I don't get the feeling that they want to play him. He keeps getting sent back to the Marlies and brought back up before the games. I don't get the feeling he's going in unless Hutchinson has an absolutely horrible game. So we'll see what they do there. But if Anderson's cleared, he'll play. And it'll probably be him against Rask. And we'll see what happens with that one. Next up, St. Louis is in against these guys, the Dallas Stars. This, of course, is the mighty, the amazing, the Mooterus jersey, which I'm wearing for Dallas. They're at home, so I have some hope here. St. Louis is 18-20-4. Dallas is 23-18-4. Yeah, but they're at home, like I said, so the hope is there. Over their last 10, of course, St. Louis is 5-5. I've been pointing this out. Nice mediocre win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. For St. Louis, for Dallas, they're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game, and of course, they lost 2 out of 3 on that road trip they just finished. On the road, St. Louis is 7-7-2 at home. Dallas is 14-5-2. Much better at home than on the road. Versus the West, St. Louis is 11-14-4 versus the West. Dallas is 14, 8-2. And of course, Dallas won in St. Louis. That's the one win they got on the road in this road trip. And we'll see if St. Louis comes back and gets some revenge for that. Can St. Louis do they do that or no? Okay. Scoring leaders for St. Louis: O'Reilly 16 goals, 26 assists. Perron 15 goals, 16 assists. Tarasenko 12 goals, 13 assists. Braden Shen 9 goals, 15 assists. Bozak 6 goals, 12 assists. Schwartz 3 goals, 14 assists. Dunn 3 goals, 14 assists. Pietrangelo 5 goals, 11 assists. Steen 6 goals, 9 assists, and Thomas 5 goals, 9 assists. And of course, as I reported earlier today, both Thomas and Bozak are on the IR. On the Dallas side of things, Tyler Seguin, 17 goals, 26 assists, leads the way for Dallas. Radulov, 14 goals, 25 assists. Jamie Benn, 18 goals, 15 assists. He had a goal in that loss to Philly the last game. It was the only goal they had in that game. Klingberg, 6 goals, 15 assists. Spezza, 6 goals, 15 assists. Heiskanen, 9 goals, 11 assists. Lindell, 6 goals, 11 assists. Shore, 5 goals, 12 assists. Foxa, 7 goals, 9 assists. And Matthias Janmark, 3 goals, 11 assists. Rounds out the top 10 for Dallas. Goaltenders, you know what? I would go with Binnington. If I was St. Louis, I'd go with Binnington. He's 2-0 now with a 1.59 goals against, 937 save percentage, and a shutout. Allen's 14, 14, 4. 3.07 goals against, 896 save percentage, and a shutout. Dallas, I expect Bishop here. Hudobin is 8-2, 2.43 goals against, 920 or 2.49 goals against, 923 save percentage, and a single shutout. Bishop's 15, 10-2 with a 2.36 goals against, 922 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. So I expect it to be Bishop and Allen. It'd be kind of fun if St. Louis went with Binnington, see what he does. But yeah, so I'm leaning towards Dallas, but it's not an easy lean. It's a difficult lean, if that's the thing. I'm not sure how a video of a difficult lean would look. Can just debate that in our own minds as we move on to Vegas. Vegas Golden Knights are in against Chicago. Vegas is 27, 16, 4. On the Chicago side, they're 16, 22, 8. Chicago Blackhawks, the number 1 attended team in the league. And they need all the support they can get right now with that record. That being said, it hasn't been that bad over the last month. It's just that losing streak was so bad that it's knocked them out of contention. Over their last 10, Vegas is 7-1-2. They lost their last game. That, of course, was at home against San Jose. Chicago's 5-3-2. They've lost 2 in a row. On the road, Vegas is now 12-12-1. With a win tomorrow night, Vegas will move a game above 500 on the road. Chicago is below 500 at home, so their odds are good. 8-10-5 is the home record of the Chicago Blackhawks versus the West. Vegas is 16-7-2, whereas Chicago's 10-14-5. So all the numbers favor Vegas in this one. That being said, let's look at the scorers. Tuck leads Vegas in scoring with 14 goals, 21 assists. Marchessault, 14 goals, 17 assists. Carlson, 15 goals, 15 assists. Smith, 9 goals, 18 assists. Cody Eakin, 13 goals, 12 assists. Pacioretty, 12 goals, 10 assists. Theodore, 4 goals, 16 assists. Miller, 2 goals, 15 assists. Reeves, 8 goals, 7 assists. And Nate Schmidt, 4 goals, 11 assists to round out the top 10 for the Vegas Golden Knights. On the Chicago side of things, Kane, 24 goals, 34 assists. Taves, 18 goals, 22 assists. DeBrincat, 21 goals now for the kid and 15 assists. So DeBrincat is having an excellent season right now. And while this season hasn't been great for Chicago, Alex DeBrincat's been fantastic. And every time I see him putting up points and goals, I think, that draft, I said Chicago probably stole him in the second round. There was a review video of that draft. I said it. Gustafsson, 8 goals, 19 assists. Saad, 12 goals, 12 assists. And I said in that video, I hate to see Chicago just stockpile these young kids when they've just won 3 Stanley Cups and have a shot at more. It's not going to happen this year, but who knows, right? Anisimov, 8 goals, 13 assists. Strome, 10 goals, 10 assists. Keith, 1 goal, 19 assists. Cahoon, 6 goals, 11 assists. And Seabrook, 4 goals, 12 assists to round out the top 10 for the Blackhawks. Goaltending. It's going to be Fleury. Fleury's 25-11-4, 2.48 goals against, 912 save percentage, and 6 shutouts because Subban doesn't play very often. He's 2-5, 2.95 goals against, 903 save percentage. Chicago's already confirmed Delia's starting tomorrow. Scoring, that'd be something, wouldn't it? Delia's like, all right, I've had enough of this crap. I'm going to just skate up the ice and score myself. No, take your rule book and stick it. 3-1-2 is Delia's record with a 2.49 goals against, 939 save percentage. Cam Ward 7-7-4, 3.8 goals against, 889 save percentage. So again, all of the numbers favor Vegas in this one, but that's why they play the games. Thank you, Don Taylor. Next up, Colorado. In the Battle of Quebec, if you count the Colorado Avalanche as the former Quebec Nordiques. They're in against the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow night. And dear Lord, does Colorado need some help? They are downplaying the rift between any of the players and the coach. But you know, when your team starts to slide like this, you're going to see cracks like that. I'm not saying there's a rift with the coach. I'm saying that there's a lot of people in that locker room that have to be frustrated right now. And odds are Joe Sakic's getting frustrated watching it. Now, Sakic has to be happy that the Ottawa Senators are down near the bottom of the league. But he doesn't want to have 2 lottery picks. That's not his plan. That's not what he had in mind. Now, if they get draft picks number 1 and 2, if they somehow came out with both, great. But in the meantime, they'd have to miss the playoffs. Colorado's 20-16-8. They're in against the 23-17-5 Montreal Canadiens over their last 10. Colorado's 2-6-2. They've lost 2 in a row. Montreal 6-4. They lost their last game. On the road, Colorado is 11-10-3 at home. Montreal's 11-9-2. That is not a very Montreal-like record at home. I remember Montreal Forum. I remember going in there and teams just didn't win in there, and it just doesn't feel the same with Montreal in the new barn. Versus the East, the Colorado Avalanche are 12-5-2. Surprisingly strong record there. Whereas versus the West, Montreal's 10-9. So we'll see if that favors either of them at all. Rantanen leads the scoring list, and honestly, if it comes down to goals, Colorado should win this. If this becomes a freewheeling kind of game, Colorado can finish better than Montreal. Rantanen's got 20 goals and 48 assists. McKinnon, 26 goals and 40 assists. Landeskog, 27 goals, 24 assists. Barry, 5 goals, 27 assists. Soderberg, 12 goals, 13 assists. Kerfoot, 7 goals, 17 assists. Compher, 10 goals, 8 assists. Jost, 6 goals, 9 assists. Calvert, 6 goals, 8 assists. And Matt Nieto, 4 goals, 10 assists. Qualifies for the top 10 for the Colorado Avalanche. On the Montreal side of things, Max Domi leads them in scoring with 14 goals, 25 assists. And he's been quiet lately. So for Montreal, if he can get himself going again, that would go a long way to solving their issues. Tatar, 14 goals, 19 assists. Drouin, 13 goals, 20 assists. Petrie, 9 goals, 22 assists. Danault, 7 goals, 21 assists. Gallagher, 17 goals now for Gallagher and 9 assists. Shaw, 11 goals, 13 assists. Lehkonen, 7 goals, 14 assists. Kotkaniemi, that rookie that we aren't really talking about, but he's having a pretty good year. 4 goals, 17 assists. And Paul Byron, 9 goals, 6 assists, rounds out your top 10 for the Montreal Canadiens. Goaltending, no confirmation, so I'll speculate because this is what you do. Varlamov probably plays for Colorado. He's 11-9-5, 2.85 goals against, 908 save percentage, and a shutout. Grubauer would then be the backup, 9-5-3, 3.29 goals against, 895 save percentage, and both goalies for Colorado have not been playing particularly well lately. On the Montreal side, I expect Carey Price. He's 16-13-4, 2.75 goals against, also with a 908 save percentage, but he has 2 shutouts. Niemi is 7-4-1, 3.85 goals against average, and an 886 save percentage. So, I because Montreal's at home, I like their chances, and because Colorado's been struggling. But Colorado is kind of due for one, so I say that, but maybe take it with a grain of salt. Take anything I say about who might win a hockey game with a grain of salt. Seriously, I don't have some kind of magical powers. If I did, the standings would look completely different than what they are right now. It would look completely different. Ottawa. Speaking of completely different, something completely different is happening in California. The Ottawa Senators are winning games. Absolutely they are. And they look good. And tomorrow night, they're going to try to do it again. This time, though, they're against the really good California team rather than the 2 mediocre California teams. The 17, 23, and 5 Ottawa Senators in against the 26, 13, and 7 San Jose Sharks. In the last 10 games, the Senators are now 2-7-1. They've won 2 in a row. Of course, they had lost 8 in a row before that, so it makes sense. The record's 2-7-1. Whereas San Jose's 7-1-2, and they've won 5 in a row. And San Jose has to feel pretty good about themselves right now. They're not catching Calgary because nobody is, but they've got themselves 1 point ahead of Vegas. And with the right amount of luck for themselves tomorrow night, they could be as much as 3 points ahead after Saturday night. On the road, Ottawa's 6-14-1. At home, San Jose's 15-4-4. So those 2 wins on the road for Ottawa help, but their record on the road is still not good enough. Versus the West, Ottawa is 6-7-3. Versus the East, that's where you might have your opening if you're Ottawa. Versus the East, San Jose's 8-6-4. And of course, when San Jose went to Ottawa, San Jose lost. So this is kind of the Carlson Cup, right? Scoring leaders for Ottawa. Stone, 20 goals, 28 assists. Duchesne, 18 goals, 24 assists. Chabot, 10 goals, 28 assists. Dzingel, 17 goals, 15 assists. Former San Jose Shark Chris Tierney has 6 goals, 23 assists. Ryan, 9 goals, 18 assists. White, 11 goals, 15 assists. Former San Jose Shark Mikhail Bodker, 5 goals, 21 assists. Kachuk, 10 goals, 11 assists. Zach Smith, 5 goals, 10 assists, rounds out your top 10 for Ottawa. On the San Jose side of things, Brent Burns, 8 goals, 42 assists for 50 points. Pretty solid season for Burns overall. Couture, 16 goals, 26 assists. Former Ottawa Senator Erik Karlsson, 3 goals, 38 assists. Timo Meier, 18 goals, 22 assists. Pavelski, 25 goals, 13 assists. Hertl, 16 goals, 21 assists. Kane, 16 goals, 18 assists. Donskoy, 14 goals, 11 assists. LeBanc with 4 goals, 21 assists. Also having quietly an excellent season. Thornton, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. Rounds out your top 10. Goaltending. Anders Nilsson will start again. So the Ottawa Senators understand they've got a hot goaltender. They're going to ride him. Nilsson's now 5-10-1 combined between his time with Ottawa and Vancouver. 2.9 goals against, 902 save percentage. Hogberg is 0-2-1, 4.09 goals against, 884 save percentage. And of course, no shutouts when you haven't had a win yet. It's not how hockey works. On the San Jose side of things, Dell is 6-5-3 with a 3.02 goals against, 891 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. I would not be surprised to see him here, and yet Jones played really well the last game, so he's earned this start. Jones is now 28-4, 2.8 goals against, 901 save percentage with a shutout. Yes, Martin Jones now has a save percentage of 901. Martin Jones has been there a few times, has had a hard time getting above 901. I'm not going to say I believe in him, because every time I do, he ends up not getting above 901. So I'm just going to leave it at that, and we're going to see what he does tomorrow. And then in the review, I'll be discussing how he did. Next up, and finishing off this board anyways, Arizona. The Coyotes are in against the Edmonton Oilers, and this is a game between a team that thinks they can get back into the race. Players on the team were talking about it in interviews. They really seem to believe they can get back into the race. And you know what? With the way things are going in the West, Arizona can. If they can get on again, you're looking for a 7 or an 8 game winning streak. It is not easy, but they've had 2 in a row. Another 5 or 6, maybe a win in Edmonton helps. Maybe they're 19-21-3 overall. Edmonton's 21-20-3 in their last 10. Arizona's 5-4-1. They've won 2 in a row. In their last 10, the Oilers are 3-7. They've won their last game. So for the Oilers, this is another attempt at improving things. On the road, Arizona's 11-9-1. At home, Edmonton is also 11-9-1. Versus the West, Arizona's 12-10-1. Versus the West, the Oilers are 14-14-2. So slight edge to Arizona. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a tough out for the Oilers. I do like their chances because they're at home and because Arizona's coming off of that win in Vancouver. And I know Canuck fans wanted me to talk about this goal shouldn't have counted and this shouldn't have been, this wasn't right and that wasn't right. If I'm going to get into that kind of the minutia of every game, these previews and reviews are going to get so much longer. So I try to stay out of that and just stick to the win-loss. If there's one play that I think was really key, in this case it was a kicked-in goal, but I didn't blame them for not challenging for a kicked-in goal because I didn't think it was that clear-cut. I thought, yes, there's a kick there, but was it that clear-cut they would have taken the goal back? I don't think so. Anyways, scoring leaders. Keller leads the way for Arizona with 9 goals, 21 assists. Schmaltz, 7 goals, 18 assists. Ekman-Larsson, 5 goals, 18 assists. Galchenyuk, 7 goals, 15 assists. Stepan, 8 goals, 10 assists. Panik, 9 goals, 8 assists. Richardson, who's on the IR, of course, 11 goals, 5 assists. Cousins, 5 goals, 10 assists. Goligoski, 2 goals, 13 assists. And Vinny Hinostroza's back with 4 goals and 10 assists. On the Edmonton side, of course, McDavid leads them in scoring with 26 goals, 40 assists. Fellow All-Star Leon Draisaitl, 23 goals, 31 assists. Nugent Hopkins, 14 goals, 25 assists. Chason, 17 goals and 5 assists. Nurse, 6 goals, 16 assists. Clefbaum, 3 goals, 12 assists. He's still on the board despite the fact he hasn't played in well over a month. Kara, 2 goals, 11 assists. Larson, 1 goal, 11 assists. Milan, 2-goal Lucic with 2 goals and 7 assists. And Russell with 1 goal, 7 assists rounds out the top 10 for the Edmonton Oilers. So they need a little bit of scoring. I want to say, too, the Patrick Laine video, people were talking about how Laine's not scoring, but look at who his line mates are. McDavid was playing with Kara and Cassian the other night, and he still got points. So that for me is an argument that if somebody is a really great player, they will get their points no matter who you put on their line. They are going to make that magic happen. And I know Laine is only 20 years of age, so you can't say too much about it. But when a guy scored 3 goals in 20 games, and it's expected to be a lot more than that, it is in my opinion, anyways. Today it was video worthy. All right. That being said, let's get into the goaltending for this game, featuring McDavid, who could have a couple of pylons on his wings and still get a hat trick. I would expect Darcy Kemper tomorrow night, to be honest. 7-11-3 with a 2.7 goals against, 9.14 save percentage with a shutout. Of course, Aiden Hill is 7-4, 2.36 goals against, 9.15 save percentage with a shutout. Not a difference between these two, really. I know the win-loss record is different, but they're both very solid goaltenders right now for Arizona. Goaltending, not the issue. Kind of expect Koskinen in this one, even though the shootout win the other night went to Talbot. Koskinen is 12-8-1. 2.72 goals against, 9.13 save percentage with 3 shutouts. Of course, Talbot's 9-12-2 now with a 3.18 goals against, 8.96 save percentage, and a single shutout. Koskinen is one bad game away from likely losing his role as potential starter to Cam Talbot, at least for now. But Edmonton always seems to be in flux. So there you go. And now I got to switch boards. Alrighty, next up, Philly and New Jersey. So, battle of the hapless teams. Which one's going to come out on top? The good news is, if you're a Flyers fan, the kid's in net again tomorrow. The bad news is kind of everything else, I guess. Philadelphia 16-22-6. New Jersey 16-20-7. Of course, New Jersey's coming off that 80s night loss against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that was their 3rd loss in a row. So Jersey's really out of it. Philly's really out of it. They're both near the bottom of the league, and this might be a Jack Hughes Cup kind of game. Anyways, over their last 10, Philly is 2-6-2. They won their last game. New Jersey's 5-5. They've lost 3 in a row, as I stated. On the road, Philadelphia is 8-12-3 at home. New Jersey's 11-5-4. Versus the East, Philadelphia is 8-13-3. Versus the East, New Jersey's 9-15-3. So neither of them do well against the East. If there's a game both teams could lose, this might be it. Your scoring leaders for Philly: Giroux, 14 goals, 34 assists. Voracek, 11 goals, 24 assists. Couturier, 15 goals, 17 assists. Konechny, 11 goals, 13 assists. Simmons, 13 goals, 6 assists. Gostisbehere, 5 goals, 12 assists. Van Riemsdyk, 7 goals, 9 assists. Provorov and Sanheim, 4 goals, 9 assists each to round out your top 10 for Philly. On the New Jersey side of things, Hall leads the way with 11 goals, 26 assists. Palmieri, 20 goals, 16 assists. Hischier, 12 goals, 17 assists. Zajac, 10 goals, 14 assists. Coleman, 14 goals and 8 assists for him. Severson, 5 goals, 15 assists. Boyle, 12 goals, 5 assists. Bratt, 3 goals, 13 assists. Johansson, 6 goals, 9 assists. And Sami Vatanen, with 3 goals, 12 assists, rounds out the top 10 for the New Jersey Devils. Goaltenders, again, Philly's already confirmed that it'll be Carter Hart. Now, what's going on with Neuwirth? When does he come back? He's 1-4-1, 4.27 goals against, 8.59 save percentage. McKenna, 1-5-1, 3.99 goals against, 8.92 save percentage. And tomorrow night's starter is Carter Hart, 3-4-1, 2.46 goals against, 9.20 save percentage. None of those three have a shutout. The only shutout for Philly this year was from Calvin Pickard, and he's moved on. So for Philly, a lot of goaltenders have passed through their crease, but Carter Hart might end up being the guy they just keep there. Maybe. If everybody were to get healthy, I would think they might just go with Carter Hart, Brian Elliott, and just everybody else gets waived, cut, sent away, go away. We'll just go with these two. On the New Jersey side, I kind of expect Blackwood here. He's 3-2, 1.83 goals against, 9.72 save percentage with 2 shutouts. Kincaid's 13-6, 3.07 goals against, 8.99 save percentage, 3 shutouts for Kincaid. So for New Jersey, even though they're at home and they have a really solid home record, be really careful about playing Carter Hart. Hart's started stealing games. We'll see if he can steal another one. Should be very, very interesting indeed, even though they're both bottom-dwelling teams. You can always find something interesting in a game. Islanders and Rangers is a good example. So the New York Rangers are in against the Islanders tomorrow night. A rematch of the game they had in New York. I believe it was last night. Like in Madison Square Garden. So now they're going to... I'm assuming everything's in Nassau from here. I think they're done with Barclays for the season. Honestly, they should be done with Barclays for good, to be completely honest. 17-19-7 is the Rangers' record. The Islanders 24-14-4 over their last 10. The New York Rangers are 2-6-2. They've lost 5 in a row. Over their last 10, the New York Islanders are 8-2, and they won their last game. On the road, the Rangers are 6-13-2. At home, the Islanders are 10-6-3. So those records all add up to, well, Islander wins. It's a sad road record for the Rangers, it really is. Versus the East isn't much better. The Rangers are 8-11-3 there. The Islanders are 16-6-4. So the Islanders are putting together kind of an amazing season. Now, we had expected these guys to battle for last place in the division, and it looks like the Rangers aren't quite last, but the Islanders are nowhere near last. They're right now a playoff team, and if they beat the Rangers tomorrow night, and if Buffalo were to perhaps lose, which is possible, we'll get to their game next. But the Islanders could really tighten the screws on some other teams in the East, and Barry Trotz further solidifying the argument that he's the coach of the year. Scoring leaders: Zibanejad, 12 goals, 23 assists for the Rangers. Hayes, 10 goals, 23 assists. Kreider, 20 goals, 12 assists. VC, 10 goals, 12 assists. Pionk, 5 goals, 15 assists. Fast, 7 goals, 9 assists. Zuccarello, 4 goals, 11 assists. Nemesnikov has the same total. Hedel, 6 goals, 8 assists. And Brett Howden, 4 goals, 10 assists, rounds out the top 10 for the New York Rangers. For the Islanders, Barzal leads the way with 13 goals, 28 assists. Lee, 16 goals, 17 assists. Bailey, 9 goals, 23 assists. Nelson, 15 goals, 14 assists. Filppula and Eberle both have 9 goals and 10 assists. Pulak, 3 goals, 15 assists. Cizikas, 10 goals, 7 assists. Beauvillier, 11 goals, 5 assists. And Mayfield rounds it out with 3 goals, 12 assists for the Islanders. There are any number of ways the Islanders can hurt you, and they're kind of stealthy about it, in that it can be almost anybody. Goaltenders, no confirmations here. I would be very surprised if it's not Lundqvist again. He's 12-12-7, 3.08 goals against, 907 save percentage. And yeah, his save percentage is really not holding up since the All-Star announcement. Georgiev's 5-7 with a 3.33 goals against, 897 save percentage with a single shutout. Neither of these guys have made an argument that the Rangers wouldn't be smart to just go in a completely different direction next year. Lundqvist could stick around as a backup, and maybe they bring somebody else in as the starter. But that's way down the road. That's looking at July and August, so we'll stay in January for now. Grice, 12-8-1, 2.69 goals against, 914 save percentage, and a shutout for the Islanders. I expect him to back up for Leonard. Leonard's 12-6-3, 2.22 goals against, 926 save percentage, 2 shutouts, and his numbers are just too good to ignore right now. And Barry Trotz is not a guy who's going to ignore goaltending numbers. Therefore, I do absolutely believe Leonard will get the start. Next up, Tampa. The insane and unstoppable Tampa Bay Lightning are going into a game against a desperate Buffalo Sabres, a team that came up just short against Carolina tonight, and it has to be very frustrating. The Tampa Bay Lightning are 34-8-2. 8. The Buffalo Sabres are 23-15-6. So Buffalo, they every now and then, the last couple weeks, it looks like maybe they're turning it around, and then they experience a loss. And now they've got this insane test of the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa's 9-1 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. Buffalo's 3-6-1 in their last 10. They lost their last game. Buffalo has been sliding for over a month now. On the road, Tampa's 15-4-2. At home, Buffalo's much better than on the road. They're 14-5-3. Versus the East, Tampa is an insane 23-2. They've won 23 out of 25 on the road. That's not fair. Whereas Buffalo is 12-10-5 versus the East. So there's a lot of ouch in there if you're a Buffalo fan. That being said, it's a home game, maybe. Kucherov leads Tampa in scoring with 21 goals, 51 assists for 72 points. That's ridiculous as well. Point, 28 goals, 32 assists for 60 points. Ridiculous. Stamkos, 23 goals, 26 assists. He has 49 points in 44 games. You know, we were talking about Stamkos. Now he was done. Start of the year. Forget that. Johnson, 18 goals, 15 assists. Gourde, 11 goals, 17 assists. Hedman, 5 goals, 22 assists. Miller, 7 goals, 19 assists. McDonough, 4 goals, 20 assists. Killorn, 10 goals, 13 assists. And Joseph with 11 goals, 5 assists. Rounds out the scoring for the very, very talented Tampa Bay Lightning. On the Buffalo side, Eichel, who's come back now. And we'll see if he can get on the board tomorrow. He didn't get on the board tonight. 15 goals, 34 assists for Jack Eichel. Of course, Skinner now has 30 goals and 13 assists. Reinhart, 9 goals, 32 assists. Ristolainen, 5 goals, 22 assists. Dahlin, 4 goals, 19 assists. Pominville, 10 goals, 9 assists. Okposo, 7 goals, 11 assists. Sherry, 7 goals, 9 assists for him. Rodriguez, 2 goals, 11 assists. And that puts him ahead of Middlestad, who rounds out the top 10 with 6 goals and 6 assists for the Buffalo Sabres. If Eichel's going to have a big game to show he's back, tomorrow night's a really good chance to do that. Very, very, very good chance to do that against Tampa. Goaltending, I expect Vasilevsky because he seems to play every game. 18-4-2 is that Vasilevsky with a 2.49 goals against, a 925 save percentage with 2 shutouts. I get a feeling he's going to end up winning the Vezina. I do. Domingue would then be the backup. He's 15-4, 2.99 goals against, 904 save percentage. I understand Vasilevsky hasn't really played enough games to this stage, but he's playing so many in a row that he projects to play enough that he should get Vezina at least top 3 votes. Hutton, 14-13-3, 2.62 goals against, 916 save percentage. He played tonight against Carolina. I think they're saving Ullmark for Tampa. Ullmark's 9-2-3, 2.69 goals against, 924 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. Ullmark's been really good. If he can somehow pull off a win over Tampa, that would be huge. But there's a reason it's huge, because teams don't really beat Tampa. Doesn't really happen. Next up, Columbus. Everything's fine. Nothing to see here. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Bobrovsky, the coach, everything's fine. It's all fine now. It's all good. I don't buy it. Now, it's not that I don't buy it because I think there's actually this big rift with the coach. It's just I really think Bobrovsky's on his way out of town. And I think all of this exchange, everything that's happening, I think it's just another sign that Bobrovsky wants to leave Columbus. And I really think if Kekalainen hasn't been shopping him, I think he's going to start pretty quick. But the trick for Columbus is simple. You have to replace your goaltender. You can't trade your goaltender out without getting one back. So that's the tricky part. 25-15-3 is the record of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they're still a playoff team as well. So you can't be seen as a seller when you're a playoff team. and you were a GM of a team that's never won a round. Uh, the Capitals are 27, 12, and 4. So the Capitals, with a win in regulation, could distance themselves nicely from Columbus a little bit, because Pittsburgh clearly isn't giving up on beating Washington for that division title. Over their last 10, the Columbus Blue Jackets are 7-3. They won their last game, of course. The Washington Capitals are 7-2-1. They've won 3 in a row. On the road, Columbus is 13-7-1. At home, Washington's almost exactly the same. They're 13-6-2. Versus the East, Columbus is 16-10-1 versus the East. Washington's a slightly more impressive 19-5-2. But they both have pretty impressive records against their own conference, and being division rivals, having met each other in the playoffs in the first round last year. Columbus should come out and play their A game. We'll see what happens. Panarin leads them in scoring with 15 goals, 32 assists. Atkinson, 24 goals, 19 assists. Dubois, 16 goals, 22 assists. Jones, 7 goals, 19 assists. Werenski, 9 goals, 16 assists. Foligno, 10 goals, 11 assists. Anderson, 15 goals, 5 assists. Jenner, 8 goals, 12 assists. Murray, 1 goal, 19 assists. Wenberg, 1 goal, 18 assists for him to round out the top 10 scorers. On the Capitals side, Ovechkin, 32 goals, which leads the league. 17 assists to go with that. Backstrom, 11 goals, 34 assists. Carlson, 6 goals, 35 assists. Kuznetsov, 7 goals, 29 assists. Vrana, 15 goals. Been on a hot streak. He's going to try to keep that up. If he can keep it up against Columbus, we'll see how far it can go. 10 assists to go with those 15 goals. Connolly, 9 goals, 15 assists. Wilson, 13 goals, 9 assists. If not for suspension and injury, Wilson would be one of the top. He'd probably be ahead of Kuznetsov, to be honest. Oshie, 13 goals, 7 assists for him. Eller, 6 goals, 14 assists. And Niskanen rounds out a very deep and talented top 10 at 5 goals and 11 assists. Goaltenders, I expect Bobrovsky, because they have to. He's 18, 13-1, 2.87 goals against, 906 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. And if he's worried that his stats are not conducive to him getting $11 million next year, which was reported ask, he's right. He's not making $11 million with those kinds of numbers. Korpisalo is 7-2-2 with a 3.26 goals against, 891 save percentage. The other problem with Bobrovsky wanting $11 million, though, is he hasn't won anything in the playoffs. On the Washington side, I kind of expect Holtby here because it's a big divisional game. He's 17-10-2, 2.86 goals against, 912 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Copley is 10-2-2 with a 2.59 goals against, 916 save percentage, and a single shutout. So if they go with Copley, they don't really lose anything. Washington's kind of had an embarrassment of riches with goaltenders for a long time. And somebody comes in out of nowhere and you go, who's that? Oh, that's the new start. Oh, he's pretty good. That's usually the way it works. All right, next up. Detroit. I feel like I just talked about Detroit because I did. And I don't have a whole lot to add to what I said about them tonight after their loss against Winnipeg. They are capable of putting up a fight. They don't seem to be capable of putting up a win. They are 16-23-7. They're in against the 22-18-3 Minnesota Wild. Minnesota, on the other hand, seems to be on the verge of turning things around. They're getting back into it. They're not just a wild card team. I know they have a ways to go before they would catch Winnipeg, but they seem to have upward momentum at least over the last week and a half. Detroit is 1-7-2 in their last 10. They've lost 3 in a row. Minnesota's 5-4-1. They won their last game, and this is about as close to a gimme as you're going to get if you're Minnesota. On the road, Detroit is 7-11-3. At home, Minnesota's 11-7-3. So they match. Just mirror images of each other. Versus the West, Detroit is 6-7-1. Versus the East, Minnesota is 7-7-3. So, yeah, I like Minnesota in this one, though. Scoring leaders for Detroit. So the leading scorers for Detroit, I had Carolina up there. I don't know why. Because Carolina's just played back-to-backs. They're not going to play back-to-back-to-back. This isn't the American League or the East Coast League. All right. Or the Southern Hockey League either. Remember the Southern League? I remember the Southern League. Okay. Larkin leads them in scoring with 18 goals, 23 assists. Nyquist, 10 goals, 27 assists. Athanasiou, who seems to have a lot of breakaways and great scoring chances, 17 goals, 10 assists. Nielsen, 7 goals, 18 assists. Bertuzzi, 10 goals, 12 assists. Vanek, 7 goals, 10 assists. Cholowski, 7 goals, 9 assists. Mantha, 10 goals, 6 assists. Green, 3 goals, 13 assists. And Glendening rounds out the top 10 with 6 goals and 9 assists. On the Minnesota side of things, Parise, 19 goals, 20 assists. He's their leader, as Granlund has 12 goals, 27 assists. Stahl, 13 goals, 14 assists. Suter, 4 goals, 23 assists. Spurgeon, 7 goals, 19 assists. Koivu, 6 goals, 19 assists. Zucker, 12 goals, 10 assists. Dumba, 12 goals, 10 assists as well. Coyle, 7 goals, 15 assists. And Niederreiter also has 7 goals, but he has 13 assists to go with that to round out the scoring with 20 points. Still in the top 10. Goaltenders, I expect Howard. I've been surprised at how much they've played Bernier. I really have. Howard's numbers are just better. He's 11, 12, and 5 with a 2.79 goals against, 916 save percentage. Bernier's 5, 11, and 2, 3.54 goals against, 892 save percentage. On the Minnesota side of things, I expect Dubnyk, although since it's Detroit, you could give Stalock the start. He's 5 and 4 with a 2.75 goals against, 898 save percentage, I should say. Dubnyk is 17, 14, and 3, 2.54 goals against, 915 save percentage, and of course, 1 shutout. So for Minnesota, this is a chance to continue that turnaround and that upward swing. And for Detroit, yeah, it's been one of those seasons, hasn't it? And as a fan that's watched the Canucks, the Stars, and the Bruins go through those seasons, hey, I understand. Totally understand. And at least one of those teams I know won't make the playoffs, and I have a bad feeling it's going to be 2 of them. Finally, last but not least, we go to Pittsburgh and LA. Pittsburgh coming off of that win against Anaheim. The only question I have, for Pittsburgh is, will they run out of gas early tomorrow night against LA? It's a back-to-back. Is there a chance they run out of gas? LA is a very physically punishing team. They're not a very fast team, but they're physically punishing. Can they take that out on Pittsburgh, or is Pittsburgh capable of just bouncing off of that and just skating through them and getting another victory? Pittsburgh's 25, 13, and 6. LA's 17, 25, and 3. Over their last 10, Pittsburgh's 9 and 1. They've won 2 in a row. Over their last 10, the LA Kings are 5 and 5, and they've lost 2 in a row. And as I've been saying, if you have a team that's got a poor record and they're 500, you're not making the playoffs. So New Jersey, St. Louis, and LA all winning as many games as they're losing over the last approximately a month. But when you're that far behind, you have to win a lot of games. On the road, Pittsburgh is now 12, 5, and 4 at home. LA's 10, 13, and 1. Versus the West, Pittsburgh's an impressive 14, 4, and 1. Versus the East, LA is an unimpressive 5, 11, and 2. The Kings just can't get it together. Pittsburgh scoring. Crosby leads the way with 20 goals, 34 assists. Phil Kessel, 18 goals, 32 assists. Malkin, 14 goals, 35 assists. Gensel, 21 goals, 21 assists for him. Jake Gensel, already at 20 goals. He's headed for at least 30. Letang, 10 goals, 28 assists. Hornquist, 15 goals, 11 assists. Rust, 11 goals, 10 assists. Simone, 6 goals, 12 assists. Pearson is now on the board with 8 goals and 5 assists. He had 2 goals tonight, and now he's going in against his former team. Don't be surprised if he gets another one. Brassard, 7 goals, 6 assists, rounds out the top 10 scorers for the Pittsburgh Penguins. On the LA side of things, Kopitar leads the way with 11 goals and 18 assists. I don't need to tell people how anemic that is for a leading scorer this far into the season. Brown, 11 goals, 14 assists. Doughty, 4 goals, 21 assists. Iafallo, 9 goals, 12 assists. Carter, 8 goals, 11 assists. Kovalchuk, 7 goals, 12 assists. Muzzin, 4 goals, 14 assists. Toffoli, 7 goals, 9 assists. Kempe, 5 goals, 7 assists. And Martinez is on the board with 3 goals and 8 assists. And he was recently reactivated off the IR, so he'll start scoring points soon, I would think. Goaltenders, I expect DeSmith because Murray started tonight. DeSmith's 12, 7, and 4 for the Penguins. 924 save percentage, 2 shutouts, and a brand spanking new contract for 3 more years. Murray is now 13, 5, and 1, 2.85 goals against, 914 save percentage, and 3 shutouts. On the LA side, I expect Quick 7, 11, and 2, 2.89 goals against, 901 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. That would make Campbell the backup. Campbell's 5-9, 2.21 goals against, 930 save percentage, and a single shutout. It is going to be a busy night tomorrow. It is going to be a late night tomorrow, and it is going to start early. So there you go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happen upon this video. There's been a lot of liking and subscribing going on lately, and it is greatly appreciated. The channel's growth has not been unnoticed by yours truly. It's impressive, and thank you so much. And also, I'll tag at the end of this. I would like to thank a member of the family that I talked about losing their Vegas Golden Knights tickets. Thank you for reaching out to me and saying nice things to me as well for the fact that I've covered it. And I will continue to cover things hockey related that are popular and unpopular, because that's kind of the way that the channel was built, and I'm going to continue to do that. Thank you guys so much for all the support. It's awesome, and I'll talk to you again soon.